it's the YY Westy here. Hi everyone, it's the YY Westy. Hi everyone, it's the YY Westy. And today I have Renars. So Renars is the organizer of Riga Summer Swing. His event is, in my opinion, one of the best that I've experienced, one of the best in Europe. And I have a really cool guest here with me today, Marc Heldt. So Marc is very well known in Europe and the world of West Coast Swing. Marc has 2 events a year, right?
Yeah, I got 2 World Swing and Council events in the year.
And today my guest is Dirk, talking about your upcoming events. So you have one of them coming pretty soon, in just 4 months from now. And the others are maybe a bit further away.
The event is basically prepared. So we have our hotel, we have the venue, we basically have our plan. The only thing we normally do during that time of the year is we advertise and try to convince as many people as possible to join us, which we are currently not doing. It also feels weird to advertise for the event right now because it's kind of like we don't want to build up hope and then crush it in the next couple of weeks. So that's why we're holding back with that. Same goes for the other 2 events, even though they are in December and January. Right now, normally we would have started to sell tickets by now, but we're holding that back as well until we have a clearer view of what's happening. For example, all sports events and bigger events in Berlin are canceled until end of October, which would be like 6 weeks before the event again. So then again, we have the same situation as with Bavarian Open. And for Municorn Swing, which is in January 2021, and now we're going into the next year already, it is kind of the same, because if you look at what happened this year, we were kind of the last event together with Swingsterland, this Paris Festifest and some others, the last events that happened. And that was already a time where we had the first coronavirus cases in Germany and all over Europe, and everything started to like go into the direction it is heading now. And so we might end up having the same situation we have this year, next year again. So how do you plan for that? Right now, not really. So we have everything in place we need. We know which staff we normally would have. We have the venue reserved, but we are not moving forward with actually doing any preparations because it is too difficult to decide right now financially and whether we are allowed to have it. To be like Bavarian, we are pretty much sure what will happen over the next couple of weeks, and it's more like a when, not what, with a little bit of hoping for the best. But Berlin might be right on the edge where you can actually have an event again, maybe a smaller version of it, maybe just 150 people or 100 people. But it is really hard to plan because you need some time ahead of the event for everyone to plan to travel, to get ready, to make a decision whether they want to come or not. At the same time, December is already a time where people start to easily get sick again with like a flu or a cold. So this is like a very weird situation where you have to consider a lot of things that honestly we never thought about organizing an event before. Like I never thought, oh, there might be a flu season and nobody will come. But now this is actually a thing where we actually have to consider that even without the coronavirus, people will act differently in different times and plan differently. for the dancing events?
This year actually started earlier, so I had a lot of things already done, already set, and so basically at the moment during the lockdown I haven't done anything, so I'm just waiting, and I'm ready to cancel as well. So I know all the things, you know, regarding the venue, hotels, so I'm ready to cancel if it's necessary. So.
Is it financially scary to cancel now?
Well, yeah, sure. Always a loss of money. Hopefully not too much. If it happens like in the end of the summer and it's kind of everything's opened up, I'm not sure how it's going to be with flight tickets, because currently for those events that were canceled during the lockdown, it's like straightforward. Like everyone gets the money back if they want. How it's going to be with the summer, so I don't know. So probably the amount of loss that I will lose, or some people who already bought tickets, flight tickets. So I think it really depends. I think it depends.
Both. We are for the next one is in October, in the middle of October, the West Coast Swing Festival. We prepare for it, and we are ready with with everything. But we will waiting, and I'm not sure that we get a chance to open it, but we will see. We don't know. What we would like to change in the future is perhaps if you get a ticket, you get already an insurance inside. You got only easy to get the money back, and I get a little bit insurance of if something happened like that again. Of course, the tickets don't want to get higher prices, but it's the same price, but including the insurance. That's what we are looking or try to manage for the next one.
I have a feeling that dancers will not kind of be afraid, because statistics really show that, you know, the average age is like 81. Our community average age is kind of much lower
than 81, yeah, for sure.
So I think the feeling of individuals that there will not be as much as, you know, as that people will not be afraid of the virus itself. I'm more worried about how it will work out with economics. How many people will lose jobs? How many people will be forced to not travel, even if they have a job, you know? There might be a second wave, you know, it's like this can happen again. So it doesn't seem so. It seems kind of promising at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. They said it's going to come back when there is in the fall, you know, in September, October, November, I don't know. But maybe it's like during summertime it's going to be okay. So I don't know. Yeah, it's more about the economics, I think, which is the thing to worry about. Yeah.
So do you have an estimation of time, like when there are going to be events again? I mean, it's only an estimation, we're just guessing, but what would you think?
Basically, for events to happen and feel like kind of secure, they still need a couple of months before to make sure that things are okay. So for Riga Summer Swing, it doesn't look really promising because it's not enough time. But maybe some events like in mid-September or maybe in the beginning of October.
The biggest question is what will be normal? I guess we will never be back to the situation from before, but it will be another situation and it will be feels normally because it's a new situation. But the kind of traveling, the kind of big event, the kind of partner rotation, that could be for a long, long time a big problem. So I see no really big events this year. I mean, they canceled the Open.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big shocking, even though expected.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good sign in the right direction. I mean, if they would try to keep the Open, everybody else would try to keep the event. So it's a good sign. It's early and a good sign. In a good way. You know, I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I mean, you mean it's the responsible decision to make right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
and the whole community understands it's way better if the open are cancelled. So it's not hard to be an event close to the open or after the open or whatever to say, okay, that's the same situation. I'm really sorry about that. Because no event director would love to cancel his own event.
So you say you expect big events like starting next year, starting 2021?
Earliest.
Earliest.
Yeah.
Let's say we get there now. Governments already allow, flights available, dancers can travel. Do you think they'll feel safe already to travel, or do they need something else, like a vaccine?
If you got the really go from the government, and it have to be not only in Germany, it have to be in all Europe or in the whole world, I get 85% of the dancers will come back. Because they're hungry, they would love to dance, and if the government says it's fine, and we care about all the risky parts, so more hygienic and something like that, I guess 85% will be back really, really quick.
Okay. Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Do you expect smaller parties sooner? I hope, I mean.
Yeah, but especially in the word party, in Germany, they will do everything for closed parties as long as possible. Because the word party, it's not what it's good for this situation in the moment. But workshops, something what is where students and teachers situation, that will be growing up quickly. Yeah.
Partner changes? Not in the coming months, you think?
No.
Like what? Not until the end of the summer?
We will see what happens in the next few few weeks, and if it works really well, it could be, but not for the summer. Perhaps after the summer, August, September, something like that. Perhaps in a class situation, no party.
The question is, if ever, I would say. So we discussed this in like smaller groups, like our local community, in several times during the last couple of weeks. And my initial thought was, okay, we're canceling all the events, and basically before we have a vaccine, we will not go back to big events. That was my initial thought. I would still think that, because it's too difficult to maintain, to contain the virus at the moment. So what will happen, I think, is that slowly they will allow very small groups of people, like 10 people, 20 people, to go back to dance classes, probably using face masks, and you have to use disinfectant every time you touch someone, like every time you switch partners or something. That would be like a requirement, and the school has to make sure that is enforced. So if someone comes and checks, they will like have to see that.
Doesn't
right
sound
now,
like it's going to be very popular.
Yes, but it's like what they do in the stores right now. Sometimes people from the city come into the stores and check whether everybody's wearing a face mask. So doing sports with face masks is not the funniest thing, I would say. So from that, we will probably grow to smaller events of like 50 or 100 people. But I guess we will have the requirement to collect contact information for everyone. So there's no more just coming to the event, signing up at the door. Everybody has to pre-register and like state that they don't feel sick, to have some kind of contact address. So in case something happens, everybody who was at the event can be informed. That would be like step number 2, but like 100 people is still very small and needs a different type of event than what we normally do. It's more like the social workshop weekends or maybe West Coast Swing exchanges that are more on the social part, but not on the competitive part at all. So there's several possibilities. I can see how this is moving forward. But one thing is sure, the big events will take a while to come back. And as long as we don't have control over the situation, which we currently don't, I don't see any of the big events happening.
Do you have any estimation of times? You said maybe in the winter if there's no second wave, right?
Yeah, so my initial idea was, well, probably the first events that had to cancel this year will be the first events that will be happening next year. But then, like, I learned a lot over the last couple of weeks, and things like this pandemic, they take normally 2 years. It takes 2 years and about 3 waves, and then it's over. For some, we are faster, or we can contain the second and the third wave to a minimum, but in general, it comes in waves and it's over after 2 years. Take this into account, and that a lot of the testing and creating a vaccine takes 18 to 24 months as well. It might even be that it takes longer than 1 year to get back to bigger events.
Wow. Yeah,
I know that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it sounds like so dark and gloomy, but I see where it comes from. Yeah, it might happen. We should have this in mind. You're right.
I mean, Facebook and Google were the first 2 big companies who extended home office to the end of the year, just 2 days ago. So if you take this into account, and they normally, like, for them, that's like a big move, because it's a lot of people and a lot of organizational work and everything.
And they love having them in the office. They give them everything. They provide them everything there.
Yes. So if they are like, well, maybe we just keep that until the end of the year, you can take a good bet on that it will take longer to get back to normal.
I see.
And I'd rather be wrong. Like, I'd rather be pessimistic on that side, and we're all back on the dance floor by November. Would be great. I would love it.
This really special situation perhaps bring us in a better way to slow a little bit down, to see, okay, like, it's not only points, it's not only to dance just as in a competitive way or whatever, just be chilled a little bit more and be happy about small things. That's going to be better.
Yeah, I hope. I think that's something that many others mentioned as well, and I feel the same. I mean, for me, competition is very important, and I really want to be successful. But yeah, now, as I see it, next event, I'm not going to be focused on competition. It's just going to be amazing to see people again, no matter where the event will be, no matter how the competition will go, no matter how the hotel or venue or whatever will be.
Yeah.
MCing and DJing, and the only thing that I think of is, like, I will see my friends again, we can dance, we can hug, we can change partners.
That the focus is more on the social part, exactly, or on the community, perhaps.
Yes.
On your friends. I mean, that's the reason why we travel so much. That's not only the business, it's not only the points, it's our friends.
Those Westie exchanges that you said, it sounds such a great idea. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Well, the funny thing is, one of the first things I organized was a Westie exchange in Munich. And basically, the Westie exchange and a workshop weekend in the combination is what is now Bavarian Open. I just started knowing about West Coast Swing and started a little bit of dancing and was like, this is so cool. I want more of that. So how do we get more of that happening in Munich? And one of the other dancers in Munich at that time was Thomas Bachmann, who comes from Lindy Hop and other swing dancers. I forgot which ones, Boogie, I think. And he told me about that Lindy exchange concept. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. Let's do that. So at that time, we organized that. Ify was also part of that because Ify was dancing with Thomas. Ella, who used to go to school with Ify, was working at the studio where we had the first couple of Bavarian Opens. And now we have Municorn Swing. And so during the summer, when the studio was closed, we kind of made a deal to have like 2 evenings at the studio to dance all night. And we had probably like 50 or 60 people there from all over Germany. Some people from Zurich, including Nicholas Hanschuh, who DJ'd for us. So it was like a lot of the faces you still see in the European community were there. And it was a very cool weekend for like getting to know the few West Coast swing dancers we had at that time. And there was another Westie exchange in Berlin, and I think one in Augsburg. But with all the bigger events coming up in Europe, those concepts kind of disappeared a little bit. And I think now is a good time to bring them back.
Yeah, definitely. That's an amazing idea.
So a lot of that is hosting people locally, like you host them on your couch.
Yeah.
So it's a limited size. It's probably less than 100 people normally. And during the day, you can do whatever you want. You can sightsee in Munich, go hiking outside of Munich, but in the evening you meet up. Some people do other stuff during the day and meet up for like practice or whatever they want to do. It's like there's no schedule involved. It's like just whatever you want. Just there's a room for you where you can dance.
We can definitely do it once it's allowed. Once it's allowed to travel a little bit. And yeah, I mean, Munich is not so far away from Vienna where I'm at now, so we might be able to do something like that.
And who knows, maybe we can have this more often, even when the bigger events start to happen again.
I think what you said about the bubble, the West Coast Swing bubble, that's also something that like maybe now people will start thinking a bit outside of the box and maybe, start focusing on other things in their lives, because it's really easy to make your life into, I'm a West Coast swing dancer, that's what I do. And I kind of have a job because I need money to travel to events and dance. And that's why I have the job. So it's like
an addiction.
It's like an addiction, yeah. And I'm guilty, like most people, I guess. But I also think that, we should be realistic. I mean, I remember at one point when I was really upset with something, one of my teachers told me, you need to remember that it's just a hobby. I mean, you're doing it it's your hobby. And I was like, yeah, right. I mean, it's not my job. It's not as if I'm a dance professional or something. And
sometimes people want to also like solve problems. They like personal problems, psychological problems. When they go into dance community and they feel good, they don't feel good about their job or something like else. And then like they have post-event depression or something like that. And then it's also, people need to think about it, so that dancing is good, but it cannot be the thing that addictive thing that gets you out of the normal world, because you need to be happy also in your regular life, and you be happy also in the events. Like when I come home to like back to my family, I never have post-event depression. I'm happy at the event and I'm happy getting back home. So that's people I think should also consider that. Yeah, but that's just me.
Well, I hope it's not just you, because I hope that many people will be happy with their life as well. I mean, that's the most important thing, right? To be happy with your life.
I don't really have much time actually, because now I'm totally doing everything with my kids. So there used to be kindergarten. Now I'm the mini kindergarten at my home. So
Okay.
there is not that much time. So now I also kind of want to spend more time with them, educate them and stuff like that. But yeah, there are some things, little hobbies, like I like audiobooks.
Can you recommend something? Some book?
1984, like for example, this dystopian future, everything's about pandemics and stuff like that, so you can take that one. 1984, Brave New World, 2 great books.
Okay.
If you listen to them, like, I hope you don't get too frustrated about our future.
The really good part on this situation, and I hope you understand that in the right way, is I can spend a lot of time with my family. I travel so much, and I'm working during the week in my studio and then travel on the weekend. So it's not possible for me to spend time with my family, a long time with my family. So it's all small pieces where we can spend time. And now we got 9 really intensive good weeks. So that was a good part. I don't want to say it's a new hobby because it's family. That will not be fair.
I normally travel about 40 weeks a year.
Wow.
For my daily business. Now I'm already always at home and work remotely. So I discovered that my apartment needs a lot of work. The other good part is that even though I travel a lot for my job, I could do the job from everywhere in the world. So I still get to work almost normally, like 6 to 8 hours a day. I like to travel for my work, but I realized last year at one point that not being home at all, only like for the few weekends I am actually in Munich, disconnected me from the Munich community a little bit, because during the week I wasn't there. On the weekends I was at events. So being in Munich actually is a nice change, and not spending basically a full day in travel every week is also very nice. And this is actually a really good time right now to find my home and redefine how I want to work and find out what is important to myself. And actually being more in Munich is one thing I probably want to keep after that. It feels more like a village right now because we're all like in the same boat, as you said in the beginning, or in the same storm. Everybody has their own issues they have to deal with, but everybody is suddenly more friendly and more like connecting, which is a very nice thing. The slowdown is actually pretty nice on that part. The reason for the slowdown, not so much, but the slowdown itself, I would actually like to keep it in some way. Not all of it, but not all the time, but like some of it is pretty nice.